For this assignment, I decided to look at the speeches of the three speeches: the Gettysburg Address from Abraham Lincoln, the We Shall Fight on the Beaches speech from Winston Churchill, and the Quit India speech from Mahatma Gandhi. One thing that I think all of these speeches have in common is that they were presented by natural leaders, and not only were they leaders in general, but they were leaders during a time of crisis where people were looking for someone to believe in and follow. Abraham Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address after the Battle of Gettysburg, and it was a really deadly fight from what I remember from history. And some good parts about his speech were that it made a reference to the Declaration of Independence and how it said all men were equal. So he used a old piece of history to reference, and it shows that he's trying to get to what the Declaration of Independence said and move forward from where they were at the time. He also addressed all the lives that were taken in Gettysburg and how he knew it was a problem, and the fact that he addresses it is important because he shows that these people were important. They fought for the freedom of slaves and black people. Another good thing that he did was he used broad terms, and he addressed the war as a whole rather than just one battle, and emphasized that we need to heal the country and work towards the ideals laid out in the Declaration of Independence. And that just showed that he wasn't just focusing on the battle itself, even though it was after the battle. It was just more about the entire war. And another thing that he did was that he analyzed his audience. He knew that the people he was speaking to were concerned about the war and what was going on with the two nations and how they would fix it. And the outcome of the war was looking rough, and he reassured, his speech reassured the faith that he had in our nation, and it made people want to still follow him. Winston Churchill's speech, We Shall Fight the Beaches, was when he decided that D-Day was going to be the best move for World War II. And some things that made it effective or important and persuasive to people was that the initial speech wasn't broadcasted live, and the fact that it was addressed to the people only in the House of Commons in the UK proved that it wasn't just for the sake of publicity for the war, but so that we could move forward getting World War II over with and done. And another thing was that it was inspiring. He displayed this speech in a way to inspire the people of Britain to want to fight against Hitler's forces regardless of the outcomes in mainland England, and that made it show that he was willing to take the risk of losses of lives in order to move on from the war. And another thing was that the timing was good, since the Allies were in a time of crisis, especially in Europe, and the war was not going well, so D-Day was a risky step that needed to be taken, and Churchill came up with the idea and gave the speech at a good time so that people knew that this was a big step that needed to be taken. And finally, Mahatma Gandhi. He gave the Quit India speech when the United Kingdom and Britain was trying to take over India and rule them, same as how they tried to do with the United States. And one thing that his speech did is it promoted a movement. So not only was the speech just about what they needed to know, it addressed an issue that was felt among the majority of Indian people, and his ideas in the speech were laid out in a way to provoke a movement against Britain and inspire people to want to fight against what was going on in their country. Another thing that Gandhi used was his tone. His tone was serious and made it clear that the people of India, that Britain was trying to do, would not be ideal for their country, and it inspired them to resist Britain's forces. So his tone was serious, and it was we need to get something done. He also uses ethos in his speech, and by talking about how he was put in prison fighting for the cause of getting Britain out of there, and it shows that it was a big issue and is going to take the resistance of an entire nation to avoid being taken over by Britain, and the fact that he went to jail is serious and it's scary, and it's something that needed to be done in order to move forward. Knowing all three of these people, knew their audience and addressed an issue that affected the audience was something that they used to their advantage. They all presented a speech based on a big issue and justified it or made it important to everyone that listened to them.